Alright guys, so I thought I would start a new series on the channel after I get done with game reviews called The Aftermath. So I just got done reviewing Extermination, and well, I actually beat Extermination almost a month ago, and I was just so busy with work and I was very much procrastinating and actually filming the skit scenes that Extermination took a while to come out. It actually was supposed to come out like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but you know how it goes when you get busy. So this is a new series I've been thinking about for a while, doing an aftermath thought video on the game that I reviewed. Now, while I review games fairly, in my opinion, I also like to point out things that I don't point out in the video because I feel like either they're nitpicky or it's not interesting enough, or it's just stuff that personally frustrated me. That's not the game's problem, it's really just me either being a really shitty video game player or just not a smart person at all, which both are probably true. But so I hope that you enjoy these new kind of videos, because I'm going to be doing these after every game review going forward. So without further ado, let's get into Extermination. So Extermination took me 6 hours. It only took me 6 hours because I thought collecting the dog tags for the game was going to give me some sort of special weapon or some reason to replay the game, some unlockable. But in reality, collecting everything in the game gave me absolutely nothing. It gave me a empty feeling in the pit of my stomach, knowing that I had wasted probably an extra 3 hours of my life playing that game for no reason. I could have beat the game probably in 4 hours. 4 hours and some change. And the whole reason it took me longer was literally because I was just searching for all the extra items, the extra missiles, the extra gun attachments, the dog tags. So in the end, it literally gave me jack. Another thing I cut out from the review that I was gonna include, but it just didn't flow well in the end, the way I felt, and it was just really a personal frustration. I think I covered it when I said how the platforming mechanics in the game fucking suck. So yeah, in 3D games of this time, platforming mechanics and action games like that don't work very well. It's been proven time and time again from games of that era. And what happened in Extermination is there is one section, a very small section after a main boss battle in the game, where you have to scale an ice wall. And it's near the end of the game. We're going on to the final conclusion here, the final act of the game. And there's an ice wall you need to climb as the start of the final act of the game. There is a small little cave, and I'm going to put the gameplay in here and make me look like in a small window as this is going on right now. So as I'm climbing this ice wall, you're going to see that there is a small hole in the side of this mountain that has an item here that you kind of need to maneuver and shimmy your way over to get up and get it. That's not an issue. The issue is, in this game, there's no tutorials. There's nothing telling you how to do certain things. There's nothing giving you a list of button maneuvers. And let me tell you, the manual's not a very big help either. It just kind of gives you all the basic information of the game without telling you what to do when you're scaling walls. Which is confusing to me because when you watch the interview with the developers, they try to get into detail of how their new mechanics and systems they put in this is going to make it revolutionary. Sorry, I'm having beers as I'm doing this. Revolutionary to action games. So you get to this part of the wall to get this missile. It's a missile. Just so all of you know, if you go get the game, it's a missile. I thought it was going to be some like special weapon part because of how fucked up it is to get off that wall. It's just a missile. You literally at this point should probably have almost 10 missiles at this point. So you can do without it in reality. Unless you want to retry this part 2,000 fucking times and fall off the cliff and have to go back to your last save point, which was right at the end of the second act of the game. And the second act of the game, there's this long fucking cutscene, which you can skip, but you have to get to the, like, after you beat the boss, you have to go board this train to initiate the cutscene. Then you can skip the cutscene, and then you have to go up another part of the mountain and cut a laser wire so you don't get shot by a turret. Then you can... Oh, and then there's another cutscene because there's a soldier there. That's another thing I never touched on in the game. I never said that there was too many cutscenes. There's a lot of fucking cutscenes in this game. A lot. And even though it's good at developing story and it's good for the overall atmosphere of the game, there's just way too many fucking cutscenes in this game. And probably an hour of the game, well, maybe like 45 minutes of the game is cutscenes. So it's just too many. So you have another cutscene you skip, and then you can climb the ice wall. So this is why it got so frustrating, is because as you climb this ice wall, you find the missile part. The missile part, you get to it, you get it, you're trying to find a way to get back to hang on the cliff. To hang on the cliff and shimmy your ass back over to where you need to be to continue climbing. Well, what the game never explains to you is how to get back down off of this cliff ledge. So, the first time I do it, the first time I attempt to get this missile part, my guy jumps off the cliff and commits suicide. Hence sending me all the way back to where I saved last. Having to do all that shit with the cutscene and the train and all that crap. I'm like, okay, maybe I just fucked it up that time. I mean, that's believable. I could fuck up every once in a while. And I think it was the first time I actually died in the game was me committing suicide on accident. Go figure. So the second time around, I'm like, okay, I want to do this real carefully. Do all the shit, get up the mountain, get to the crevice, get the missile. I'm like looking all around, like testing the buttons slowly as I'm at the very edge of this cliff. And once again, the guy just jumps. Just does the, I believe I can fly, falls and kills himself. Okay, at this point, I was like, that's really annoying. That's really frustrating. I've come this far. I can't just say fuck it and not play the game anymore. I'm at the end of the game. I need to do this. I try one more time, and the same fucking thing exactly happens. At this point, I'm on my fourth attempt. I say fuck it, and I leave the missile piece. And this is when it hit me when I was at this part. I feel like that little part, because it's such a weird place to have a secret, well, it's not even a secret, to have a missile tempting you to go to this one crevice side. Out of all the secret locations in this game that there is, and I did find them all, out of all the secret locations there is, and how to get to them, this one little tempting piece is almost like the developer trolling you. I felt like it was like I bet you could get this. Now how are you gonna get down? You shouldn't get greedy. Now I feel like that's them trolling me or something, trolling the player. So in the end, that was something that really fucking annoyed me, was this ice wall climbing thing that I didn't include in the review. I was going to, but I felt like it didn't flow well and it was just going to be some random bitch fest of a part, which I don't want to do. It wasn't funny. It's not comedic, so it just doesn't flow, so it just got cut out of the review. That's why it's in this part now. Something else that I thought was hilarious is in the review, I don't like spoiling games, and I don't like putting anything in there that's gonna like maybe ruin something for later. So that's why I think this is a good thing to exist after I do reviews for videos, because if you watch the review, maybe you got the game, maybe you didn't get the game, maybe you're not interested in playing the game, you just want to know my thoughts about the game raw. So, the bosses in the game, they all end up being like squad members or someone in your team that got infected and becomes some sort of like super creature, mutant monster fuck. And the main guy that you're with at the beginning of the game, Roger, who in my opinion was the best character of the game, Dennis, your main protagonist, I don't like. I didn't like him at all. The voice actor who played him fucking sucked, and he looked like a California fucking LA surfer boy with a gun. It just didn't match at all with some sort of special ops agent. Roger looked like and sounded like a believable character. The Canadian version, as stupid as it sounded, when you hear him in the review saying like, I guess I'm gonna have to take care of both of you, like he's from freaking a Clint Eastwood film, is better than the American version of Dennis that we got. So all of the boss monsters, like I said, or all of your squad mates turned into some creature. Roger, who for some reason really likes to point out in the beginning of the game about these special knives that you guys got from Cambodia. A mission that they never really touch upon in Cambodia, but whatever. I don't know if that was like some sort of throwback to Predator when they're talking about Cambodia. I don't know. So Roger is a like hulking beast in the third act of the game, boss monster. And he's the best boss fight, I'm not gonna lie. The last boss fight of the game is not bad, it's just really annoying at some parts. Like, very repetitive on... It's a 3-phase beast. I'm not gonna talk about that yet though. So Roger and these knives. These knives... Do I have a knife in my... Okay. These knives are like this size, as you see in the games. Like whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. This knife, imagine this knife, and I got infected. This knife grows like 20 times the size, but stays the same exact shape, and is as a part of Roger's arm now. When I saw this, I busted out laughing. I was laughing at my game, because somehow Roger's body and the knife grew together, and a non-living object of steel kept its shape and size and grew with the organic material to be a giant knife. And then when you kill Roger finally, the knife shrinks back down to a regular knife, the regular size knife. So I don't know what happens there. I don't know what they were thinking there. Something I didn't say also in the review is I feel like they ran out of ideas, or they were rushed, because the ending of the game, the third act of the game, felt very rushed. I was very confused in the third act of the game. I'm not going to lie about that. The direction it went, I was very confused. You think that it's like when I said in the review, it's a biological hazard that kills people, takes over their bodies or whatever, and the organic shit spreads all over and takes over. Well, the thing I didn't say in the review, because it would spoil it, is that it really comes from some like fucking asteroid from outer space that you find way later in the base, never explained, mind you, of where it came from or what it is. And that's the reason why this shit is spreading and creating these mutant people and monsters, and the shit, and the water's alive and all this weird ass shit. Almost like the markers, if you ever played Dead Space, the markers in Dead Space, how they create the necromorphs, but are also at the same time used to destroy the necromorphs. I don't know. But, see how this sounds like super confusing? Okay, so the meteor that you find, there's some scientist guy that's been hiding out in the game that you've never seen the entire time, is never, ever, 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 ever mentioned once until you actually meet him for the very first time, and he starts referring to the meteor as his son. He's like, you're not gonna hurt my son. My son is the future. My son is this. And he dies immediately. So you get no answers about any of that. And then what happens? You get to the boat, and we're talking about the final boss now. The final boss fight is something I really did not want to touch upon. It's a 3-phase monster, like I said. First, it just looks like a giant worm monster, the common monster that you fight throughout the whole game, expanded times 100. It's a huge serpent that swims in the ocean. You kill it. It comes back as a walking monster on the boat, and you kill that one. And then the one of the most confusing parts of the game is, from what the game tells you and makes you understand, is that this virus and this monster creature organic shit cannot consume you or take your form or whatever unless you're infected and it's consumed you fully. Well, the third phase of this last boss fight is you. It turns into you with all of your best weapons, and it can also control all of the organic material to make more monsters on the boat. I didn't understand how that was possible. I don't understand how that happened or what was going on at that point. And then the ending of the game. I didn't want to say it in the review, but the ending of the game, the very last cutscene, has got to be the most confusing, weirdest cutscene I have ever seen in a long time for a PlayStation 2 game. And I forgot about it. I've played Extermination since it came out in 2001. I was in middle school when this game came out. I've played it at least 6 or 7 different times since middle school, including this time as a 30-year-old. Man, I'm fucking old. Okay, so this game ends with you and your love interest, this girl you've been trying to save the whole time. You get friend-zoned by this chick harder than any hero character that I've ever seen in a video game. Way harder than Link has ever been friend-zoned, ever. Way harder than Mario has ever been friend-zoned, ever. And then the ending cutscene, after the ending cutscene ends, the credits roll, and it's like a really weird-ass song.
I've been terrible to you.
It's okay. I just hated myself for not being able to help you. So from now on, if you ever need anything from me, you let me know and I'll be there. This time I promise.
Dennis.
We're friends, right?
Right.
Well then, let's go inside. It's cold out here.
Thank you.
Candy girl, you are the sweetest candy girl. My sugar baby candy girl, the sweetest in the world.
The song I don't get at all. It doesn't tie into the atmosphere of the game. It doesn't tie into what you just witnessed for the last cutscene. It doesn't tie into anything. So I was extremely confused, and I was laughing too because I was like, "What is this?" I feel like I was being trolled again by the developer. Anyway, like I said, the review of the game is, in my opinion, solid. It holds true to the critic points of me playing a video game. These are my raw thoughts, the aftermath of things that I felt would be like too whiny. So I still think Extermination is a good game. It has way more positives than negatives, and that's why it's so good. I wish it would explain more about how the creatures, the aliens or whatever, the mutant material was able to transform into different beasts, because there are many different variations of monsters in this, which I give it credit for. Normally in PlayStation 2 games, when you're playing a repetitive action game or something like that, you see the same character models being used over and over and over and over again. Sometimes they're shaded different colors, and sometimes they're just blatantly used over and over again. But I give it credit. Come here, Cider. Come on. I give it credit though. Because I felt like it was, at least they tried to use different variations of monsters in this. Otherwise, if they didn't do that, I wouldn't give them any credit as much as I did. If that makes sense. I don't know. It's like my 5th beer, and I was thinking about this as I was sitting on the couch, saying, you know what would be a good video idea, and I do this a lot, is that these aftermath videos of game reviews. Why not? Give my raw opinions of what I thought about the game afterward. And holy shit, it's going on a 20-minute video on this, which I didn't realize. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. This was the aftermath thoughts of Extermination, a kind of drunken rant on the game after the game review has come out. If you guys enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button. For more content like this, subscribe if you're not already. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. Happy Easter, and I'll see you on the next review, whatever, next video I do. Have a good night.